welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts, Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, Stick of Context. Why did you tentatively accept the calendar invite? You're here.
I was just letting you know that.
Yeah, don't have to do it tentatively. You can just say, I'm here, and accept the invite.
You can say no. What fun is that? You don't know my schedule.
I don't know.
I'm important.
I know your schedule because you said you could record right now.
Oh, I did, didn't I? Dang, you got
That's
me.
true. You did tell us your schedule. So
Yes, you did.
that sort of invalidates a large portion of your argument.
Man, I've been in Zoom meetings all day, and every single one of them was dumb. And I wanted.
This one's going to be the same. You're welcome.
No,
we call this consistency. It's a service we provide.
Yeah, it's true.
With this one, I can actually talk and communicate. With the other ones, I just had to sit there and just be like, I can't make comments.
That's fair. Listen, that's true.
Yeah, I was in one that was like an hour and a half long, and it talked about this new, since instead of doing monthly pay periods, we're going to do bi-weekly stuff, and they were teaching us how to do the new system, which is complete garbo. And I just wanted to sit there in the little comment section, just sit there and twiddle away and just kind of voice my opinion. But my supervisor was also in that same meeting. I was like, I can't.
Best not do that.
Oh, so I sat there and took notes like a good kid.
Good job.
And then I had to go out in the 100-degree weather and see people. So it was an extended long day for me.
That sounds pretty rough. I'm glad it didn't get that hot here today because yuck.
Yeah, it was nice and toasty today. Usually we're supposed to kind of look a little bit more like they prefer slacks and a polo. But I told my supervisor, I'm like, hey, I'm going to put my hiking pants on and wear a t-shirt. And he's like, dude, that's fine. And went out there and talked to this guy for about 30 minutes, and I was just sweating. My mask, there was a nice little sweat ring around my mask that I was wearing. It was so gross, and I had to sit in the car for about 10 minutes just to cool down. It was bad. That was my day. What have you guys been up to?
Similar, but my meetings were all in person today, back at work.
Ew.
And so it's meeting time. It's all very, very tired. Because yesterday, I only had meetings half of the day. So it was kind of like here's the new plan, here's the welcome back, the precursor meeting. And then the other half of the day was do whatever thing in your room. So that was good for me, make my room not look like trash. That's what I was doing. and then but today it was basically meetings all day. All day long.
Wow.
Gross.
So it was a lot of sitting, a lot of I'm really tired now of just sitting here. I, unlike Aaron, did not keep my opinions to myself. So I didn't know you were supposed to do that. But I know any longtime listeners will be shocked by that, I'm sure, right? Oh no, wow, who would have guessed that? But what? Not necessarily bad ones, but just concerns and things and confusions that people that I had. I was like, well, what are you talking about? I don't know what that means. So that kind of thing. So it was that today. So
I got you.
we're tired.
Very sleepy. Very tired.
Yeah, I have today and yesterday.
But yeah, Colin's about to be like, "Yeah, shut up. Let me tell you about being tired."
No. I mean, the only thing I'm going to say is it sounds like we've been all in meetings. Between yesterday and today, by the time we get off the phone call, I will have done over 8 hours of Zoom interviews with people.
Oh yeah,
which is
there
terrible.
we go.
Which
It's
is
a lot.
Yeah, no, like yesterday, I did 3, but 2 of those went over an hour and a half, and then today I also did 3, and 1 of those went to an hour and a half, and then I'm going to do this one. And I'm just like, oh my god,
who knows how long this will be? It's a mystery.
That's what I was like. I was like, it's at least, I'm just calling it, it's 8 hours of doing this one. I just rounding at that point. And that's probably being on the conservative side.
Nah, you never know. True.
But I will tell you, it is, I don't know if you guys get, I don't know. If you guys get like this, like I consider myself very outgoing. I enjoy talking and being in front of people, but my goodness, is it exhausting?
Yeah, it's yeah, I feel that way. Like, it's like I don't always enjoy it for that reason, right? Because people are, I am a very extroverted person. Again, not shocking, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but like, it's tiring to be that on for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when you're at school, like when I'm at work, right? You are in the mode all the time. You always are in this like hyper kind of state, or at least I am. Like when I'm on, going. And it can be really tiring. Like when you get home, you're just like, I'm done. I've met my peopling quota for a long time, especially now since I haven't seen any people in like a year, it feels like. So now I'm like, oh no. I had the teacher thing happens like when you go back to school after the summer and you start talking a lot, all of a sudden your voice doesn't really work. You're like,
yeah,
because you had to talk to people for 7-8 hours today. So I'm like, oh no.
Yeah,
and again, listeners might have noticed I'm not exactly a quiet talker, so like it's very. No one ever says, "What's that? I can't hear you." So,
never have I ever not been able to hear Brandon talk.
Yeah, that's not a problem that I have. People today are all like, they're talking, they're kind of like moving their masks around. Now I'm just like, boom, shouting out, like, here we go,
made for this.
Yeah, right. Who cares? It's fine. So. Yeah, but that's
yeah. Well, and I think that part of that idea of going, you're extroverted, like you love being in front of people, but part of it too is going, you may be extroverted, but I still think there's a side of thing like some people get energized from doing that kind of interaction, and you can still be extroverted, but it still be really draining.
Yeah, it's very draining.
Energized, right? So yeah. I think there are those people who. They are extroverted. They get energized. They get energy from the crowd or from talking to people or for that kind of engagement. And other people, it's extroverted, but it's like work, but they still enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely get the energized for like a short term. Right, it's a very short term, like for a little bit, and then it really starts to drag you down. Like, okay, I'm done. Yeah. I can't even. But then the other part of my personality is someone will say something, and I'll have to be like. Well, I can't not say something in response to that. So here we go. Like I can't just let it sit there, even if it's just a comment or like I have to say something because, I have to be like, wait, what? That happened a lot this afternoon in our elementary meeting, Not like bad, but, like we're talking about part of the thing was like, one of the things that we talked about today was we introduced a topic today. It's going to be continued next week, I think, for a second round. But like, what happens if we have to go virtual again? Right. So, what does that look like? So we've contracted with some sort of company, obviously, right? These companies, side note, these companies are going to be making bank this year. I should have invested in one of these online companies because, like, days after school started canceling in the spring, I started getting emails. Hey, need help preparing for virtual learning? Check out blah blah blah. Like 7,000 of those emails do I have in my inbox that are in the trash folder, right? Because I'm just like, nope, bye. I'm not buying things. What are you talking about? Get out. But so we've contracted with that, but nobody really knows what that means. Like, what is it? How does it work? What does that mean for all the curriculum I already have? Like, you know, we don't really have the answers. We just kind of know these vague things. Like, you know, because a lot of it, the elementary is like, okay, well, what about a first grader who doesn't use online learning ever? Right. So we need a program that's able to be used for them, but also in the sixth grade land, like we use online stuff all day, every day already. So like, they're like, oh, you got to use this. I'm like, yeah, but I already have this other thing though. Right. Like my Google Classroom is like, it's done. Right. It's there. Like all that stuff is go. There you go. Use that. Done. Right. So what does that mean? Like, is there other resources included in this thing, or is it just a platform? What in the world's going on? So, more answers forthcoming. But like, that's what I couldn't keep my mouth shut about today. It was like, you know, my teaching style, my classroom space, is not. A lot of the things that we do are not compatible with online. Just like how I function. You know what I mean? Because there's lots of discovery, lots of interaction, lots of discussion, that kind of thing. So I don't have material to just like dump online because I have like these big slideshow things, but a lot of it's talking, pausing, having kids look up stuff, talk about stuff, write some stuff down, look up more stuff. You know what I mean? It's very interactive. So like, does this thing have material that I can be like, oh, that's like what I do. Let's slide that in there.
Sure.
So that they can supplement my classroom discussion time with some sort of activity that I don't actually possess currently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The answer to that question is maybe. I don't know. But then, you know, somebody was like, well, if we're even doing the virtual, if we have this, why are we even here? You know? Why don't the kids just do that only? You know, I mean, like, okay, yeah, I get that for like the safety thing. That makes sense. But like, you know, also, if you're not in my class, you're really missing out on a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You miss out on a lot of things by not being there. You miss out on, again, that discussion, that group discussion is really powerful. You miss out on expertise, not just mine, but other students. You know, they have knowledge that we need to share. So, like, that's what you miss out on in the online space. You don't get that, you know, and some of that stuff. So,
yeah.
You know, I kind of said that because her comment was more like, well, what am I even doing wasting my time here right now if we're just going to be online in a month anyway? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And I was like, that makes sense. But also, yo, don't diss me like that. I'm good at this. Stop it. Like,
I like doing this, right? Yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to be doing this in person. Like, this is where
and it's gonna, is it gonna suck? Absolutely. You know, it's gonna be terrible. I mean, not terrible, but it's gonna be hard. You know what I mean? So, but our school has basically said, you don't come in without a mask. You don't go anywhere without it. Done. That's it. So, mask for everybody. They're even buying everybody, students and staff, like those face shieldy things.
Oh.
Like face shield deals to wear like with your mask and stuff when you're in the hallway. So, boom. Yo. Look at that. So, Mascarino. So they said, you know, oh, if you're like the little kids, you know, if you can spread out far enough, you can wear like only the face shield, you know, blah, blah, blah. Sixth grade has kind of decided 2 of our sixth grade teachers are in the high risk category. And we're going to have to wear the masks anyway. and our rooms aren't big enough to move far apart. So, yep, mask for you. Just staying on in the classroom. No big deal. It's fine. Like, got to wear it anyway. So, just keep wearing. Like, so. So that was pretty good. I was happy about that. It's like, okay, well, I feel slightly better now about this whole situation, knowing that we have administration and a board that's taking it seriously. That's pretty good news. A plan. We have a big plan. Compared to some of the other schools in the area, our plan is like excellent. You know what I mean? It's like this multi-page document. There's like all this stuff in there. There's all these procedures for everything. Like some of the bigger schools in the area, there's like a bulleted list. Excuse me, what now? Like,
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. You know, so that's good. We'll see how it goes. Again, we'll see how long we're in session before, you know, something happens and the county health department's like, yeah, no. Yeah,
right.
Yank the plug out. So,
yeah.
Now, so the question, if a student or a faculty member does test positive, is that it? There's no like closing and then coming back, or would you?
Well, we don't know exactly. It sort of depends on. That's some of the stuff we started talking about today, and there's more details about that forthcoming. It has to do with where and whom, right? So, like, if it's a student, like maybe if it's in the elementary where they're self-contained in classrooms, they might just quarantine and virtualize that class, right?
Sure.
So I don't really know. Nobody actually asked the question, what's it going to take for us to shut down? Right? What's the limit? Like, what's the hard... that question might be asked tomorrow. So we'll see, but like...
yeah.
Nobody asked what's the line? Where does it stop? And again, it might not even be our school. Our school might be okay, but like one of the other major schools, they might have like a big thing and the county might just say, nope, done. You know, for however long. So we'll see. Many to be determined, but we'll see how it goes. But I think they're at least taking it seriously, and that's the good part. Makes me feel slightly better about all this stuff. I also made the official social distancing ruler today.
The official one?
The official one. I taped 2 yardsticks together.
Oh my gosh.
I have a 6-foot long yardstick.
Oh my god!
Because even in the 6th grade, we have absolutely no idea about distances, right? You could tell somebody 6 inches and 6 miles, and they'd be like, "What? What's that mean? I don't know." So, like, it really helps to visualize things. Was another good reason that I walk around the class fidgeting with a meter stick all the time, because in science it comes up, and they're like, "How long is that?" And I just kind of go, "About this long." You know, I could show them.
Yeah.
Or we can count floor tiles. When it's like, how many feet is that? We just count the floor tiles because they're all 1-foot squares. We just go, it's this long from me to the wall. That's what we're talking about here. So, because I don't think we have a good grasp on 6 feet of horizontal distance, you know, and they're like, well, why do I have to wear this thing in the classroom? Like, as you can see, we cannot all be this far apart.
Yeah.
It's physically impossible.
Let me put this into some context for you.
Oh, look, a stick of context. So I have I have the social distancing ruler for demonstrative purposes. I might carry it around for a while. Who knows? It's very like Gandalf-y. I kind of like it.
That's what I was just about to picture you, like striding through the halls with your cloak billowing behind you.
That may or may not happen. We'll see. But
the angry wizard brooding in the corner, stroking his beard.
Yes. Perfect.
I like this.
I do too. Go for it. Just quote Gandalf things all day long and see how long it takes before someone catches on. It's my favorite thing. It's just saying random quotes and then seeing if anybody gets it. Today, the answer was no. remember what I said. Something. Oh, I quoted a Boy George song. I sang part of Karma Chameleon.
Why?
We were doing some sort of weird game, and like on this app called Quizlet, and we were taking. It was at the end of our little session about special education and special education department and stuff. And she had made this presentation, and the end was that she put these questions in there, and we had to get in these groups and sort of like answer the questions together. And it assigned us the chameleon as our mascot. And they said something. I was like, it's fine. We come and go, and nobody. It's like we've got good karma. We come and go, and nobody. I had nothing. It's like, well, maybe next time.
I think we need to get you a shirt, and all it says was it's a bit obscure, and
that's fair. That's fair. That could be my official Oh Brother shirt. That's what I'll say. And it could be
it's a bit obscure.
When you get to merchandising levels, we'll get there.
I know. Yeah.
We can make the font like hazy, so it's like a joke.
See? Yeah. It's a hard part. I'm sorry. What is that? I can't have a hard time reading that. I know it's a bit obscure.
You're welcome.
Yep.
It'd be great.
Oh.
Speaking of a bit obscure,
yes,
I saw a post this week online, and I almost died laughing.
Oh,
yes, and it said, "It's like this is just a reminder that the game is still ongoing, and you just lost again."
Oh, jeez. Boo. Boo.
It's good.
Boo. Why? That was pretty funny though. But
I thought it was fantastic. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" My first thought was actually, "Oh no, I've been winning for so long."
wow.
I thought it was great. And based on the comments on the post, you could tell people that actually had no idea what I was talking about. So
sure,
it was great fun. But speaking of obscure, there you go. There's your obscure reference for today.
For the month.
For the 50th time.
Oh. But jeez.
There you go. You haven't thought about it either, have you?
No,
Boom.
I haven't.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Add it to my list. Update on Bollywood film. I haven't
almost done now.
Nope, I haven't watched any more of it. So
very quick update.
Very quick update. Unfortunately, I'm still an hour and 11 minutes in and waiting.
Well, I mean, when you're on Zoom calls for 47 hours a week, it's hard to find time to watch lengthy Bollywood movies.
I am going to be house sitting tomorrow through Sunday. So
all the way through Sunday.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yowza.
So I have some time for that.
It's true. They don't house sit much anymore, so this is interesting. I was surprised when you said that.
Yeah, it's not a lot of people do it. I mean, when we first started out, we were exclusively house sitting to the point where we wouldn't be in our house for our apartment for like a month at a time. And we sat in multiple houses, and Meg and I kind of split up the city in different sections. We're like, okay, well, you're staying at this house for the next 4 days, and I'm staying at this other house for 5 days, and we're going to, work it. So it's just a lot of work. And really takes you out of your groove for your schedule. And here in town, people are more spread out. Like the houses, they're kind of further away for people when we have gotten requests, and so it's hard to keep it within our service radius. But we've done it just a small handful of times since moving here.
Yeah, because I remember you used to do it just like all the time, like forever. So
yeah, that's what we started. That's basically all we did. We didn't do daycares. We didn't do drop-ins. We didn't do. Well, we would do drop-ins, but we wouldn't do walks or boarding. It was we will stay at your house while you travel to Europe and check in on things. Okay.
Yeah, it's worth.
Which is, I mean, I gotta say, like, it's nice. I mean, you do get these. I was telling Megan the other day, like, there was also this streak where, like, I think both her and I were heaviest into our true crime, murder, mystery documentary kind of things, and so
distressing. Being in a strange house, right? Because all houses have weird noises they make, So, like, you're in some strange house. It's all weird and dark. There's a creak. You're like, oh, I die right now. Here it is.
Yep. Like, or the like this child. Something just feels weird about this house. Like the client was kind of distant and blah blah. And so you're laying in bed at night going, "Huh? Did they murder somebody and they're hidden in the basement?
Did you do that? Like, I'm gonna go look in the freezer."
Yeah, no, like, okay, so like, yeah, you're gonna creep. Like, you respect privacy. You don't open all of the bedroom doors, but you're gonna be like, okay, I need to at least know what's here. So if anything moves, or if that secret panel pops open, at least I'm ready to, go and tackle the person. But yeah, you'd be like, is there a secret compartment in the garage where the bodies are hidden that I need to go double check? Just so that I can report this and not have my fingerprints found all over the place.
Fair. Aaron, I have a question for you. Are you picturing Collin sneaking around a house like Don Knotts in Private Eyes right now?
So I not the Don Knotts, but I am kind of like picturing like it's one of those like Quentin Tarantino scenes where the camera is in the room and like you see Collin like opening up and going, "Oh, that's there," and then like closing the door, but having like the person's dog like behind Collin,
just kind of like having no context of what's in the room, just like
and just like kind of like follow, like the dog is like following Collin around, and like the dog is having like an inner monologue with itself, and it's as I watch this strange man enter my owner's home, I started to contemplate what the and so like just something kind of like to that effect of
wow.
The image just came to me of Collin doing like his just slow and like his eyes all big, like, oh, that's there, and like just slowly closing it and like making a mental note of it. Like,
I definitely went with more like Private Eyes, and then like every little noise he would like run away, like.
Or when they're in the movie Clue, like,
oh yeah,
like, oh, it happened in here, and like him running like Tim Curry.
Yes.
I mean, the Tim Curry run's pretty accurate from most of my interactions in people's homes. But I mean, there is also so when we would sit like the really large homes, the nice part of the neighborhood by the country club or that kind of stuff. Yeah, you definitely, when you're sitting in a house that is completely new and it's like 5,000 square feet. Yeah, you're like, ooh, I am all of a sudden very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
right. Smaller homes, you get used to that easier. But yeah, it was always in the really big ones where like everything's nice, but it's also really creepy.
The one with more nooks and crannies. Right?
Seriously, exactly. Where you're like, wow, those cupboards sure are nice to hide in. Right.
Second obscure reference for the day. So then you start remembering all those really dumb chain letter emails that you used to get in middle school, right? Like,
forward this on.
Yeah. Is that why 2020 is so bad? None of us forwarded those emails. It's just took till now to catch up with everybody.
No, I think that's pretty good. That's about as good as any. I mean, I saw. Was it Did you guys send it to me that China went and locked down certain areas because of a breakout of the bubonic plague?
Oh yes, they quarantined a whole entire village in Mongolia.
That's right. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, great. Ooh, on a happy note, today, peek behind the curtain, August 12th, 2020, is actually a pretty historic day in Missouri. It is the first sighting in Missouri of a brown-footed booby.
Really?
On the Current River, of all places.
Really?
Yeah, look it up.
What year?
That's pretty cool.
This year. Today.
Yeah, the first ever.
I didn't catch that part.
Not first ever since. First ever, period. For those listening, Collin, that have no idea what you're talking about, what on earth is a brown-footed booby, if you would please like to elaborate slightly?
Oh, well, they are they're typically a seabird found in the Caribbean and the Pacific coast around Central America. And so they do migrate around, but not here. They don't. It really is an anomaly to see, especially a tropical bird.
Yeah,
here in the Ozarks.
Missouri.
Like, they have.
I mean, it's hot enough, so like.
Right. Well, they think that with some of the recent weather patterns, the really big storms that we've had push through, may have actually pushed this bird
off course,
off course and way inland, because they don't do that. Really, I mean,
that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Neat.
So I think it's pretty cool. I don't know. They're just kind of checking on it. It seems to be very confused. Obviously, it's like, wait a minute.
This is not what I'm supposed to do.
What's this? So I don't know if there are any plans to relocate it or to drive it back somewhere. I think they're just going to kind of let it do its own thing and monitor it, but
see where it goes.
See if
then later, if they're like, okay, bro, that's the wrong way. Let's go this way. Like,
right. Yeah. But I saw that and I was like, everyone's heard of the blue-footed booby, probably.
Of course, the most famous.
Yeah, most, because it's just funny to say, but
and its feet are so blue.
So literally all the blue. I know it's funny because the headline was like, blue-footed booby makes a rare appearance in Ozarks. And I was like, you mean first appearance in Ozarks?
Yeah, you don't mean rare.
I mean, sure, it is
never
rare.
before happened.
Right, never before. It's so rare, it's never happened before.
It's so rare, it's literally never happened before.
That's fine.
The rarest.
But I see the word rare, and I'm like, oh, how long ago was the last one? Or like, how frequently is this?
Yeah, at least more often than never. So that's
I know. So I was like, oh, let's write a little better headline, guys.
That's true. That's true. They probably don't know what to do with that. Like, what do I do with this headline? This is a mysterious headline.
So did someone like catch it, or are they just kind of like is there field cameras out monitored, or is there like,
or was it one of those sweet things where someone's like took a picture and like, dude, what the heck is this? I've never seen this before.
No, seriously, a lady and her family were rafting down the Current River, and we're taking pictures of wildlife, and we're like, that's a weird bird, and took a picture of it and then posted it on Facebook, and we're like, we saw this today. And people were like, what? and so the state,
where are you?
Yeah, exactly. The state ornithologist was like, could you tell me more? And sure enough, brown-footed booby. And it was just because some people were kayaking that day, right? And just happened to see this thing, right? It's just wild.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. That basically that exact same thing happened on the last night's episode on Shark Week. That's right, it's Shark Week, the best week of the year. Anyway,
it is.
Sorry.
Yes.
Last night they were doing one, and first of all, I would just like to say this year's Shark Week episodes, brilliant so far. Excellent. Anyway, there's been a bunch of like weird ones with like celebrities overcoming their fears of sharks. They had 3 of those. One of them was Mike Tyson, weirdly.
I see him on like on Instagram and stuff, and I'm like, is he hosting Shark Week? Like, is he
had a show?
Shark?
He had a show. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It's weird to see Mike Tyson being afraid of something. So that was interesting. There was another one with Shaq. That one was not as good. And then last night there was one with Will Smith, which was also not really as good. But there's been some really excellent shows about like how the quarantine and stuff has affected shark populations because there's no boats anywhere.
Oh, sure.
And there's no like extra noise and vibration in the water. Like what's happening to these sharks? Like they're kind of doing different stuff than we normally see them doing because it's like more normal, quote unquote, normal sea conditions without all these boats everywhere. And how that works. And there was another really good one about like shark like sizes, because the conservation efforts that we've been doing for the last little bit, like in some areas might be working fairly well because some of the sharks are getting enormous, like sizes that haven't been seen in decades because it takes sharks so long to get that big and before they're being hunted and killed and all that stuff. So the sizes of the sharks were much smaller. So like what we thought of as a normal size shark was like, 14 feet long for like a great white in this case. But these sharks are like 17, 18 and a half, 19 and a half feet long.
Ew.
And you're like, oh my gosh. And this is like a historic size that hasn't been seen in, like I said, decades.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Didn't they find like a new species of like hammerhead shark that's like coming out more towards like beaches? Was that a thing?
Yeah,
like,
I think that's the episode that's on tonight that I watched part of earlier. Yeah, in Florida, like a possibly new species of hammerhead shark. But the reason I brought this up is there was an episode last night with that Forrest Galante guy that we've talked about before. The guy that does that looking for extinct or, not animals that you don't see very often.
Right.
There was one last night with him, and he was looking for these like hyper rare sharks off the coast of South Africa. One of the reasons that nobody has seen them, and they're in these like really deep water reefs, and the water is like fast moving, deep, like inaccessible, And so he was doing that. He was looking there for one, and I can't remember the names of them right now, but he was looking for one of them was a species of ray. It's like, oh, where's this ray? I'm looking in this. He was looking in this saltwater lake, and he's like, normally I would just dive in and kind of go snorkeling around, but this lake has bull sharks, Nile crocodiles, and hippopotamuses in it. So I think I'm going to stay on the boat. That's a smart plan, sir. I like that plan.
Yes. Yes.
But they were looking and doing all this stuff, and this dude just called him up. They'd been in there for 2 weeks or whatever. And this guy calls. He was like, "Hey, I took some weird video. I videoed some weird sharks. He's a dive master. He's like, I got some weird videos, some stuff I want to show you. See what you think about it." It's like, oh, okay. And him and this other shark guy went down there. And I apologize because I can't remember his name right now. Either he's like one of the shark expert dudes, right? He's like discovered more species of shark than anybody else. And they show up, and he's like, "Hey, check this out." And the guy goes, "Holy cow, that's the Austin's guitar shark." It's like, I discovered that 2 years ago, and this is the first one I've ever seen alive. Like, what?
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Like he'd only seen dead ones and found dead ones in like fishing nets and classified the species. He's like, this is the first living footage of one I've ever seen. And
that's insane.
Yeah, the guy's like, "Oh, hold on, I got another one." And they showed this, like, it was like a ray looking thing, but it's the ray that they were looking for earlier in the lake. He's like, "Yeah, I just have this video of this thing. I don't know what it is." And he's like, "Holy cow, what's up?" It's like, that's the thing they've been spinning weeks, like looking for. And this guy's like, "Hey, I got this video." Like,
it's okay if you, what do you think?
He's like, "Holy cow, what the heck?" And they found it. It was because he was night diving, I guess, off something. He just found it sitting there eating a clam or whatever. And he's like, "What in the heck? Oh my gosh, this is so great." They're like freaked out. It was awesome. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it's just funny that like sometimes you just randomly take a picture of something like, hey, that's weird. Check it out. And then someone's like, oh my gosh, it's the rarest thing in the world. You're like, oh, all right. I thought it looked odd. That's neat. Yeah, it's
I wonder why I'd never seen anything like it before. Right?
Because literally no one's ever seen this before. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we're on the good news bandwagon, and it seems to be all focused around conservation and biology. That's fine. I
found Arn right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. I can't get out of it. I came across this article from the Chicago Tribune about fish species recovery around Chicago. So, put this into perspective. 30 years ago, about the time we were all busy being born, there were fewer than 10 species in the Chicago and Calumet rivers in the area that they could find when they did studies in the 80s.
Wow.
Fewer than 10 fish species.
Wow.
Now they are finding 60 different species.
Hey.
60.
It's exciting.
Yes. I was like,
unless one of them is the Asian carp, then that's bad. That's not supposed to be there.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I didn't get the detailed list
of which ones.
But
which is it? The snakehead? Like
the snakehead.
Don't want that one either. Like the species we want there. That's a question.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I know. It's crazy, but it's just insane. The amount of conservation work that has gone up there has just been insane to what they've done with the water. Like they've built underground tunnels to help aerate water and move it more efficiently. They've
I didn't know that.
Channeled and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, right. Like
I didn't know it's channeling and canals and stuff like that, and to like divert traffic and kind of improve water quality in some areas and do like a water runoff and watershed conservation stuff. I didn't know about underground tunnels. That's like a whole new level. Like,
the tunneling between rivers, right, to increase water flow, to carry chlorinated water in different directions from the natural water, and just insane amounts of infrastructure that they've had to go in. But because basically they had to do all of that because they were using the rivers as their infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then when they could no longer do that, they had to build it up and around and through and between everything else, which is why it was like, it's so crazy to think about the amount of work that's gone into that.
That's one thing I think people need to remember. Chicago is a port city. Right. That's a fact that's lost on a lot of people based on its geographic location because it's in the Midwest. Yeah, right. I think you can see it if you put your nose in the crease of the map. There you go. Deep cut number 3. You're welcome. But it's in the middle. Knowledge. It's in the middle of the United States. So you don't think about it as a port. You know what I mean? But Chicago historically is a huge port city, right? Railway and port just distribution hub. And the amount of river traffic and lake traffic and, all that stuff is immense historically. So that's pretty impressive that they were able to turn that around. Because, the industrial complex and shipping complex that is Chicago is huge, right? You can't underestimate the size of this. The scale of how much stuff moves through that city, even now, right? It's still a big port city. Can't deny just the scale of that. And we forget about it because it's, the middle of the country. We often forget about the Great Lakes shipping lanes, when we talk about, shipping and distribution and stuff like that. We kind of forget. I think we might know about it a little bit, but we kind of forget about the Great Lakes. We think about like Florida, the port of Los Angeles, New York even is a port city, but we forget about Chicago.
We totally forget that Chicago is not just a port city, but an international like shipping container port city. Yeah. Right. Like shipping containers from Asia and China and Australia, like come into
Chicago. Yeah.
Right. Like it's
yeah. That's a weird sentence, but it's true. Like the Great Lakes shipping lanes are enormously trafficked, you know. And it's a weird thing. You don't think about these places like being just massive shipping hubs, but yeah, Chicago, international port city. What? Like,
mm-hmm. Not
we're not just talking to Canada, right? We're not just talking because it's like right across from Canada. No. Like,
thank you, friendly neighbors to the north, but we're not quite counting you in on this right now.
Well, we are, but like that's not the only reason.
It's a yes and
It's a yes and. Yeah, but yes, and also South Korea. Like what? Like, holy cow! So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. That's pretty impressive that they've done that much work up there.
Yeah,
good deal.
So, that's pretty neat stuff.
Good for you, Chicago.
Yeah, nice job.
Oh man, they're going through some weird stuff, aren't they? You heard about what they're doing?
Who's they?
Chicago.
No, I don't know.
Recent, for geopolitical reasons, Chicago has what's it called? It's the Hyde District. Hyde District, right? Hold on, Chicago. Yeah, Hyde Park, Chicago. It's the really, really nice, fancy part. It's on the island of Chicago because there's a part of the town that's kind of on an island in between the rivers.
Yeah.
In recent nights, the looting and destruction has been so bad that they have been raising all of the bridges onto the island at nighttime.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So I've seen this movie. It's called Batman. Where they raise the bridges so people can't get off the island. But yeah, it's now a nightly occurrence where every night at like 8 p.m. all the bridges go up and they don't come back down until like 6 or 7 the next morning.
Dark Knight Rises.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, to prevent looting because they had people were coming in from all the suburbs and surrounding area. Were literally driving U-Hauls into downtown and smashing into storefronts and then looting and piling everything in the U-Haul and driving away.
What the heck? Yeah, no, I missed that somehow. I don't know how that happened.
It's crazy. So I'm like, and they're like, it's not just shops but they're like houses on there too, where people are now like, well, I guess we're on the island tonight.
Huh. Yeah, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyway. Chicago. There you go.
I seem to recall liking Chicago when I was there. Again, this was ladies and gentlemen, this was a long time ago. I have not been
stuff these memories.
Yeah, I haven't been to Chicago since. Boy, I'm gonna go with. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
I think.
Early middle school? No, it's before that even, probably.
So, yeah. I mean, I remember taking the train from St. Louis to Chicago.
Yeah, we did that.
We did that. And then I think we went one more time.
We drove up there once.
We drove up there with Mom.
From Illinois with Barb and them.
And we went to the mall and got the sand layering things. I don't know.
We did that. That's true. I still have that somewhere.
90s
in a box at Dad's house.
The cool
the colored sand.
Layer it.
Yo, what's up? I do have a distinct memory of being in some sort of food court thing, eating hot dogs.
The only association I had with Chicago, especially when I was younger, was the Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah,
we also went to that. I remember that.
And that was like the only reason. Like I thought, like that was like the biggest thing in Chicago.
That's true.
And I was like, we're in Illinois, so clearly there's, the best thing to go to. And I was like, oh, Chicago's actually like a legit city. Oh, yeah. My bad.
But you would have been very, very young because I am not putting myself older than 5th grade when we did this.
I remember going on trips when it was just Mom and myself, and we used to go.
Oh, really?
But then we went. Oh, what year was that? It was the same summer that we, as the choir, went up to Carnegie Hall up in New York, and then it was that same summer because we got back. I had to do laundry that night, and then the next day we went up to Cedar Rapids, Ohio, for band.
Oh, okay.
We went coming back. We went to Chicago where we saw Blue Man Group.
Nice.
Right. But I just remember walking around like the pier and stuff and all that, and I was like, oh yeah, there is all this stuff here. I forgot about that. Yeah, but that must have been like 2009, 2010. Must have been.
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right. Yeah. But I haven't been since. Yeah, I'm going to go with somewhere around 5th grade, possibly younger. I definitely remember wearing a Chicago Bulls t-shirt, obviously, because it was in the mid to late 90s. So that's what you did.
I would like to go back because I have fond memories of it, and I would like to see more of the city and do more.
I only have vague memories, right?
Yeah,
I do remember. Like, I do have a very distinct memory of we went to the Field Museum the first time, right? When we took the train up there.
Yeah.
So I do remember going to the Field Museum. That was so cool. Even when I was a kid, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. But I have a very distinct memory of, because I've been to like St. Louis and Kansas City, and you're like, oh, these are some pretty big buildings when you're driving through like that part of Kansas City. I remember we took a taxi somewhere to the rental car place or something. And I remember driving, I was in the backseat of this taxi, looking out the window like, oh my God. Like through downtown Chicago, just like aghast, like, oh my word, this is enormous. Like, I have this very vivid memory of just like staring, like sort of like looking up out the window, like putting my head on the window and looking up and just being like, geez Louise, this is cool. Like I remember that. I had that very distinct memory. The rest of it's very vague. I do remember sitting in traffic for about 97 hours one afternoon, driving back from somewhere. I think probably from the museum. The afternoon we left the museum, we're on a freeway, just like not moving for what felt like an eternity. I don't know how long it actually was, but for me, it was like, this is literally the longest thing ever. I've never been on a highway sitting still before. This is very weird.
And it might not have been that exact one, but I remember doing that, having to sit on the highway a couple times when we would drive up with mom and sitting in the blue Suburban. And that was still the time where the best advice that they gave was, if you're going to sit for a long time in your car, just turn it off. And and so sitting in there with the windows rolled down and the car turned off on the interstate, just being like, what is this? Why?
I do vaguely recall that.
Terrible. Yeah.
When we were all in there. Yes. I don't remember. Yeah, I just have these like vague memories of like a mall, a park. Sure. Lake Michigan, like I know I have this vague memory of like kind of the Lake Michigan beach, like this kind of thing, but I don't really have any other like solid ones. So yeah, it would be kind of cool to go back there. I don't really know what else to do, but yeah, kind of neat.
So that's it. We're taking the train. Meet at my house. And we'll,
does it still go? Does it still do that? Did he still?
Yeah, there's a train depot here where you can get on it.
Is there really?
And go into Kansas City or St. Louis. Come on,
really?
What?
I was unaware of this.
No, yeah, it's an Amtrak.
Tell me more.
It stops in town. And
really?
It stops like 3-4 times a day. Yeah, I'm like,
what?
Are you kidding me? And they're like, oh yeah, no, it's just a thing. So the reason this comes up is because the town sent out a questionnaire because they're basically trying to rebrand as a town and get better messaging. And they were like,
okay,
interesting. I don't have the blood pressure to go back through this, but it was like, when you think of Sedalia, what do you think of? when you tell people, sorry, I said the town. I'm not supposed to say that.
We've said it like 75 times before at this time.
Yeah. Sorry. When
I always forget
you tell people when you tell people where you're from, what do they say? What are their thoughts? And it was things like, where is that? Is that where the state fair is? What do they have to do there? Other, I put like meth problem, huh? And because seriously, like, I mean, that's the real problem here. I
mean, that's literally anywhere in Missouri. Let's be fair.
I know, but it's real bad. And the cops are to the point where they're putting out like a lot of there actually been a huge increase in fentanyl overdoses here in town the last month.
Again, like that's everywhere in Missouri.
I know. So, and then it was asking, like, when you think of the town as a person, what are the characteristics that you think of? Or the last community event that you went to. Oh, first it was like, what are the community events we're known for? And I was like,
that's a good question.
It's a great question. You have 3 spaces. I have 1 answer.
We have a farmer's market that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
and
well, the answers parade. The answers that I put were the state fair, obviously. The downtown bike races that come through once a year.
Oh, that's true.
And the Scott Joplin Music Festival.
There's a Scott Joplin Music Festival?
See.
Oh. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. And so, they were asking, like, what, like, if you've moved here, what keeps you here? And kind of stuff. And I was like, bleh. But, it was like all these questions, and none of them they were all just like, what do you want us to, how can we whitewash the town to make it more appealing for people? Right? None of it was answering the fact of like the big question I want to know and ask the city council is the town's population. And I know I've told you this, guys, before, but the town's current population is the exact same as when my house was built over 100 years ago. Why?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that tells me something, and it doesn't really sound like the questions you're asking are getting at that. There's a problem here. And this may be a first step in that direction, but if you're not even like, the questions weren't even around like housing or infrastructure or anything like that. It was like, what are we known for? And I was like, you're known for the Goober Burger, which is peanut butter on top of a hamburger, which is freaking disgusting. And that tells you everything you need to know about the town, right?
Wow. Violent response to peanut butter on hamburger.
Why would you put peanut butter on top of a hamburger?
What? I think I've actually had that before.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
I think I was at a restaurant and I was like, no, I have to know what that's like.
It's so disgusting.
I don't really have any recollection of being offended or liking it, so it must have been pretty like, yep, that's a thing. Okay, anyway.
I'm sure, again, it's right. I get it. But it's like, I don't know. It's just one of those things of like, you have to at some point decide what you're going to hitch your wagon to. And
yeah,
for this point, from up until now, the town has really basically been like, we're where the state fair is. That's what they're known for. And it's like, are you going to continue that, or are you going to lean into things like the Katy Trail, the fact that you have a train depot that has a train that nobody knows about?
I didn't know about that.
Right. Or an art museum that nobody goes to, or the downtown area with brand new shops that are opening up that don't get any highlights because, the big box stores on the west side of town are opening up and they get all the glamour. Like, what are you going to do here? And
our town definitely does a lot of like highlighting the downtown thing. Like they have been, like I said, they're redoing. They're kind of like again. We have a downtown. I've mentioned this before. We have a downtown flooding problem. So currently they're addressing that. But they've done a lot of stuff like where we had Shayna's graduation party downtown. They had built this like big pavilion. I had no idea it was there. Right down by the railroad tracks. And we still have a bit of a railroad depot, but it's just kind of like it's not big. It's kind of like a track merger, just where trains wait in like a pass-through place. It's not like an offloading zone anymore. But there's all these old buildings that's where they used to be. That's what it was. So we have this front street right there. Just goes right parallel to the railroad tracks. And they've been doing that. They've been They really pushed the revitalizing of the downtown street with all the old brick buildings where the stores are. You know, there's new stores down there. There's a pharmacy that expanded to a new like soda fountain thing. They have they're currently painting a mural, another one, which is it's fine. It's fine. Okay, it's fine. But
it's really
yeah. So they have this one mural on the side of this building. They've already painted one, and it's like really cool, and it's kind of like town history, and it's got like all this stuff on it. It's good. It's really interesting. The guy that painted it's really good, right? And I don't remember what his name is, but he's like a muralist. He's a pretty renowned guy. He's the same guy that's doing this new one. There's this like grain silo in the track yard down there in the rail yard, and it's been there for like this is like 130-year-old grain silo, right? It's really neat looking, and they're like, we should like paint something on it. But we've just decided, you know what we should paint on this to really solidify a sense of our town and our community. We should just paint generic flag and eagle on this silo.
Sure.
Which again, it's fine, but I've literally seen this same thing on a mailbox. So like, it's not. I like it. It's cool, but it's not representative of our town at all, right? You know what I mean? It's just kind of like a generic. Like, I think it's cool if you wanted to do. I think it would have been cool to paint something that's like a local veterans thing. If you want to do the patriotic motif, sweet, but make it like a little flavorful of where we are. Like, let's honor our veterans from our town.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the kind of thing that I get really passionate about when these discussions of like, who are we as a town? Like, what's our identity? What's our mission? Of like, if all you're focused is, if your only focus is how can we make ourselves more attractable to businesses, like that's, I don't think that's okay. Like you're missing out on a whole swath of the discussion.
Yeah.
Right? The whole thing is, how do we get better tax incentives for businesses to come in? You will lose the soul of your town. Right?
I mean, that's fair. But like, I think our town does a pretty good job because we have some big industry in our town, right? We have like international industry here in a weird like town with like 15,000 people in it. What the heck? And they, you know, they've done a pretty good job of like, okay, we're bringing this business into our community. Okay, so this is where our people are going to work. Now we're going to give our people places to go. Like, what are they going to do when they're not working? Right. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this, but they just bought 50 acres south of the park, and at least half of it is going to be for an expansion of the park. So, like, some of it's going to be for housing, like a new housing, because there's not enough housing ever, right? But so expanded some developmental housing areas. But at least, I think over 50% of what they bought is going to be for the expansion of the park.
Sure.
Which is pretty cool because like that's what our town is known for. It's the park. When you talk about our town, it's the park. Yeah. Right? The South Park. We have a North Park. We have another one too. It has like baseball fields and all that stuff. But the South Park is where people go and like hang out and do stuff.
Yeah. And
where the Y is and the golf course. That's where people go. That's what. Yeah. See, there's a walking trail and there's like bicycling stuff. Like,
yeah, that's a town that goes, this is an asset. We need to lean into this and continue to invest in it.
Yeah. But so I was impressed with that. I thought that was a good choice. I was like, hey guys, all right, nice.
But I don't even think this town knows what its assets are yet. Right?
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to figure that out and go, what is it that makes us better? What is it that makes us us? And that's it. I understand that. I'm just like, but I see all the other work that's going on in the background, all the tax initiatives, all of the things on the ballots, all the funding, and I'm like, so they're racing ahead in one step with all these initiatives,
not supporting it in the other one,
but not supporting anything in the other one, and it's like, then there's this side to the conversation of like, oh, but what do we want to be known about? What do we want? Like, yeah, but you just invested like millions and millions of dollars in all this infrastructure for industry and are moving the image in one way, but you're not like these need to be happening at the same time. Right?
True. I will say there is a benefit to having the industry, right? Not only do you have a large job benefit, but here's one interesting example: is we were getting electricity, like the city switched electricity co-op company things, right? And it was cool for a little bit, and then or they did something. They adjusted with the co-op providers or whatever, because the electric co-op, that's a whole bizarre situation. If you're not familiar with what that is, listeners, don't worry. It's confusing and no one actually knows what it means. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they started getting from and the rates just started going up and up and up, right? So everybody, the whole city, the electric rates were going higher. And Tyson's was like, yo, what the heck? If you don't knock this junk off, we're going to have to leave. We'll leave and we'll take all our thousands of jobs with us.
Sure.
We'll go somewhere else. And the city was like, oh, all right, just kidding. Just kidding. Hey, let's look at. And then we switched back to the other. So our electric rates dropped back to where they had been before, nice and stable. So there's some benefit to when they're like, yo, come on, help us out here. Like we're using all of your power. Okay. Yeah. You got to get us a deal here.
It does work this out. Some bargaining stuff. And don't hear what I'm not saying as far as like anti-industry or development.
Oh, no.
That kind of thing.
I just have one very specific instance that I could think of that happened here.
But it does allow you certain advantages for those kind of things. It's just when the city it seems so lost as far as what they even want. Yeah. Right.
You do have to remember, like, okay, these industries are here. That's cool. Our citizens are working there. What do we do now? Yeah. To help build our community. How to make it better.
How do we retain them? How do we keep people here? How do we do that?
Because we have some problems with housing, right? We have some areas that need help. But they're working on some stuff. They're doing some road revitalization to kind of get traffic into other areas they do really try to get business funneled downtown to the more locally run areas. Yeah. Or there's lots of,
Yeah, I will say that they recently, in a really good move, is they actually expanded the quote unquote historic district in downtown, which officially includes our house now.
Hey,
I don't know what that does. I don't know.
Probably not good.
I don't know.
That means you can't paint your house without telling the city.
Sure, right? I can't tear anything down around. I don't think it declares the building historic, but I think it just means that
you're in a historic area.
Yeah, the area. So I think that puts restrictions, or like, again, I have no idea. They weren't like, with this move, we'll be able to dedicate X number of dollars to renovations of streets or whatever. They were just like, and this is the historic district. Ta-da. And I'm like, so it can just crumble more peacefully now, I guess. But so I'm like, there are some of these small moves. It's just, I get fired up when I so worry that the whole point will be, we just need to attract businesses and get jobs in here, and then that'll solve all our problems, right? But what about if you're asking questions about the town, what do you want the town to be to visually appear to be, to have a feeling of, and to be known for? As opposed, being known for being friendly to businesses is great, awesome, but what are the business people going to be doing there on the off time?
Yeah, right. What are they giving back to the community? What are they? Right. Where do those people that work there spend their money in town? Where do they go for recreation? What do they?
I will say some of the questions were really good about, like, do you go somewhere else in the state to shop or to recreate? Where do you go and why? And I was like, okay, that's a really good question, because that's going to tell you, like, why people are leaving. And I can tell you why most people are leaving is because there's nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
Which is, again, you have to start somewhere. It just
Yeah.
when I saw that survey come across my desk, I just got this this pulsing vein in my head, and I was like, oh no, oh gosh, okay, be kind.
Yeah. There is I will quickly bring up the other end of the spectrum, which is the town that I work in, and I do not work in the same town that I live in. So there's like in Southwest Missouri, there's like a town every several miles, and there, all that stuff. So it steadfastly refuses to do anything. Right? They have this chronic problem of they can't get money into the town to pay for stuff. Nobody will vote to expand city limits. They can't, without voting to do that, they can't expand city resources like sewer and electricity and water. They can't provide more housing, because that's a chronic problem in the place where I work, is that there's no housing. There's none. Can't get it. Right?
Yeah.
Part of the problem is it's surrounded by like farmland, and these people are like, no, they will not, they're you can't go anywhere, because it's like, oh, these people own this, and the city can't go that way because there's this farmland. And then there's this constant like back and forth of anytime any land becomes available, one of like 5 people buys it.
Yeah, before
immediately. It's like this land baron thing happening, right? Like, so they can't go. They won't expand it. The only major business in the whole town is actually located outside the city limits by like feet. So like they're not.
Oh my gosh,
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's this the whole like. I see people discuss in the town of like, they get angry when property values go up because that means that their taxes are going to go up too. And I just, I can't, I don't know what to do with those kind of statements, because on the one hand, they complain about the city not having money to do anything. But on the other hand, they're like, can't believe how much my house value rose last year. Now they're going to raise the price on, raise my taxes on it. And I'm like,
that's true. But I've also never heard anybody say, oh no, my house is now more valuable. How terrible. Like,
come to my town where people complain about it.
It's weird. I've never heard anybody out here say that ever.
We were in our house for 9 months, and the assessor came through and was like, due to raising property values, we are increasing taxes. And people were like, they were filing complaints about assessments of their property values, trying to get them lowered and devalued so that they wouldn't have to pay higher taxes and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, I'm just looking around going, I'm sorry, but do you want the potholes fixed or not? Because people are, we need to pay for that to make it nice. You can't complain that it's not nice and then not pay for it. Like, I'm sorry, like, those two things, like, I don't understand, and they don't have an answer for that.
It's definitely more. I mean, nobody likes taxes, obviously, right?
No,
but like on the local level, is you actually see the benefit of it happening.
Yes,
like nationally, I have no idea what's happening with my tax money. It's probably being misappropriated horribly. Like,
don't look at the graphs or charts that tell you like per every dollar that you pay in federal taxes where it goes. It's very depressing.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
You, like
I would gladly pay more in local taxes to actually see good things happen. Like, that's where I would want my dollars.
Because I want my city to be better. I want the people in my town to be better.
I want the people who are running the services, who are sitting behind the front desks, who are out doing inspections. I want them to be able to earn more, right? For the free job that they're doing.
I want my fire department people to be well equipped. I want my this is important to me. I don't know.
It's things like that where I'm like, I don't think like
my other city services, I want them working, like my water. I want that to be functional. I'd love for the city
to be able to do like more code enforcement that they have in place, so that these houses that have been sitting derelict and like are literally falling down for years and years, something can be done with them, right? Like those, like, so action can be taken on those, and get start. You what?
Yeah, it's another one that we another town around here dealing with. But like, yeah, Archie's doing that. They're down there cleaning up some old buildings that are falling down. That they're kind of going through in the downtown area, kind of getting that straightened out, and hopefully that's going well. I don't know how, but like there's
So
definitely like cordoned off, and there's just like sinks hanging on wall 3 stories.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do that.
Sweet.
Sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
Oh no, so what I was going to say is that's kind of, Bartlesville is kind of considered like a real stagnant town because, it being Bartlesville, the pretty much oil capital for years, it has a lot of old money. And a few weeks ago when Shelby and myself, had a date downtown, it's like, oh, this is here? Like, oh, this is here. And then we got lost going through like the old money district, which is like all these really nice houses. But then the moment you turn a block, there's just these like houses and roads that just aren't being focused on, but all the money is going to that area because there's still a lot of old people that live there that still are pretty prominent members of the city. And Bartlesville is like it just isn't growing. It's just kind of stagnant. Like there's a lot of nursing homes here. There's a lot of those kind of facilities. But there's also not a lot that brings people here except for ConocoPhillips or the college, and that's really about it. And I definitely agree with Collins. Like I'd be happy to pay more in taxes just to have stuff propped up or furnished better. But I'm also in the same boat where I'm moving and I'm like, Bartlesville doesn't get my money anymore. So but Bartlesville is a stagnant town. Like it has a mall, but there's maybe like 5 stores in it now because it's owned by older rich people that are like, oh, the rent's this, gets people in there, and then they jack the price up. And it's like, well, no, like the city needs to help and step in and actually promote that, because if you get more things in here, people actually shop more. And because I went there over tax-free weekend to watch some baseball at Buffalo Wild Wings, no surprise. And there was like no one there, and there's still no mask ordinance. And I was like the only one wearing a mask, like in the mall, and like there was just no one there. And people either leave town to go shopping, or they just order it online, and so nothing is grandeur. And so it's just kind of it's not a dead town, but it's just a stagnant town where nothing is happening and nothing is progressing and nothing is, moving.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Ours is growing. I don't think it's growing very fast because we built a new the new little shopping center-y thing. One of those like strip thingies. It's not very big. It's only like 5 stores or something. It's full of stuff. There's a couple of shops there. There's some new restaurants. There's the big thing we're doing though is we're building a new hospital.
Yeah.
Which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Just because our old hospital is really good. It's a good hospital, and it's actually one of the best in Southwest Missouri in this area. I mean, in a smaller towns thing, because there's a lot of the other towns around there isn't one. Because a lot of small town hospitals have been closing the last 2 weeks because they're just not. They just can't stay open. They can't do it. But ours is kind of become a hub, and it's actually expanding. They're building a brand new one out here. So it's supposed to be super awesome. I don't know what that means for the old. I don't know what to do with that. The old was like old. It used to be by nuns back in the day.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
So you're telling me it's future? It's going to be a permanent haunted mansion, is what I'm hearing from this.
Maybe. But nuns used to work there. So
hotel? Make it turn into a hotel.
I don't know. No, but yeah, there'd probably be something another medical thing because there's the one downtown. So, like,
sure, I'm sure they'll have medical offices
thing,
there.
but like medical offices. But yeah, they're building a whole brand new one out here on the highway. That means new roads. They're gonna put another stoplight here, but like for the ambulance, you know, the accident, all that stuff. So that's kind of cool. But they've really built and invested in that because that's a thing that our town has not a lot of other towns in this area do.
Right. That becomes a
medical. Our medical services are really good, you know. So
yeah, that becomes a regional asset at that point, right? And you start leaning into that. And yeah, it's again, I don't 100% know why the survey triggered me and got me thinking about the town the way it did.
But if they're never doing anything ever and they're not actually doing like evil things, again, like I said, our city's like they're trying to solve this like systemic flooding problem that we have in our down area. Right. They're taking big active steps to fix this problem that's been happening for decades.
Right. Yeah.
So like that's the guys that see that as positive, you know. Doing the road redos that they're trying to do. Allegedly, if I mentioned this before, allegedly there's going to be a traffic circle somewhere. Still not 100% sure where it's going. I know, right? But see, not sure where.
Doesn't matter. It'll be there. Be an attraction.
I guess
you'll have to go around.
Yeah, we have some stuff. We have a Drury University satellite campus. Who knew?
Oh yeah.
Kind of some stuff there. So we have a regional technology center that a lot of the high schools go to. Like we used to go to OTC in my high school, and when we were in school, that's where we went for all that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, it didn't go, but other people did. That place is here in town, so kind of building those resources up. It's kind of nice. I like it. I mean, it grows. I didn't like it when it first was here, but
sure.
Now, once you kind of like, oh, this is useful. Okay, I got you. Well, and have that moment of like maturity, of like, oh, this is like important stuff.
Right. Well, yeah, and part of that too is also educating some of the the current city residents on things in the city that maybe they didn't know of, and doing a big push because like there's the Dom Art Museum here in town, which we love. Like we go there a lot. At least we did before COVID. But like it was always empty, and the guest log was always never full, and had like days and gaps between people visiting. And I'm like, why do people not know about this? Are they not impressed about the art that's here? Like, or is he not communicating it properly? Or like the things like the campus that's here in town of going, there are so many opportunities. Like it's a 2-year college. You need to lean into that hard and really look at the opportunities that the students are bringing, that the classes that are there, and the programs that they have going on there, and start building that out into the community instead of just being like, yeah, it's this thing, whatever. Like, lean into it. Come on. So that too of just assessing and looking around and helping the community as a whole understand like what they actually have versus the preconceived notions that they may think that they're there.
Yeah, we don't have any. Well, maybe we do, and I just don't know about it because I don't go out very much. Obviously, we don't have like museum things. Right? We did have like a county museum thing,
sure,
in like old VFW deal. I think they have to close that and move it because the building's like falling down. But at this old building and that kind of stuff. I don't know a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people knew it was there. So that's kind of that would be the interesting next phase to think about, is getting that stuff going. Oh, we do have another festival. We have the July fireworks thing. That's huge. Normally, they have a huge, like, the park's like full of like festival thing, like 4th of July, and then there's a huge fireworks display, and then there's also sometime in, I guess, September, I think there's a Hispanic Heritage Festival park. Again, I don't know about here. But normally there's a Hispanic Heritage Festival. There was something else downtown, maybe. Very themed thing or other. I don't know. But yeah, there was that. The Hispanic Heritage was a big one. Man.
Yeah.
That one's really cool.
Things like that. like more people need to know about that. Like, and I think that can be overlooked from a city organizer, event planner kind of mentality of like, oh, yeah, this is an event we've had for years and years. What else is out there? But like really taking a hard look at that and going, does everybody know? Right? Does everybody know about this? How can we get more people involved? And
everybody knows about fireworks, though.
Sure,
people from the whole county come over.
It's just an example. Right? I'm sure people.
No, I'm serious. When you go, because normally under non-insane conditions, we go. Our park is it's kind of like by the golf course, right? What we always do is that everybody parks on the side of the highway. They park in the park. It's full. You can't get in. They park on the highway. It's fine. The cops are like, yep, they're all out there patrolling, doing all this stuff, direct traffic and everything. People park on the highway, jump the ditch, and just go sit on the golf course. Walk out to the fairway, sit. Boom. And the things go off everywhere. There's actually a thing you can walk under the highway at one point. It's not really super convenient, but you can do it. It's down there. You go into the park, all the festivals and food and all that stuff. You can go sit on the golf course. People sit on the highway. People sit in the parking lots of businesses. Like, they go in and they order food and then they bring it outside and sit in their cars and watch the fireworks. It's crazy. There's so many people. It's ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah. Well, again, like things like that, where you're able to go where obviously that's a huge strength. So as from the city's perspective, going like, we need to make this better. Like, we need to get more businesses involved. We need to make it more accessible. We need to make it more convenient for people. We need to build this out, add attractions, add services in these areas where people are parking, and not saying that they're not doing that. That's just as an example for people. If you're thinking about it in your town and going like really thinking about how best to serve the community. And I always hope that those conversations are going on, but I worry that they aren't right.
That's the point. Is like, you can always go, what new thing can we do? Sometimes it's good to say, what's the thing that we do,
right,
and with more, right? Do
exactly.
Start there, right?
Because then you're coming from a position of strength and confidence and history and character too. Of like, this is the one thing. Sure, let's go with it. You lean into the farkin' goober burger and you go, this is the thing we're hanging our hat on, and we're really gonna market this, and because this is the one thing we've got, and everyone's gonna know about the history of this, and we're gonna have 4 or 5 different places in town that serve it and market it and certain things, and like we're gonna do that, fine. But to go like, what new thing can we create? Like, what's the new, food dish that's going to define the town? It's like, stop it. Like, you already have something. Come on, just
you have one thing. Go for it. We need to do it.
Yeah.
Or you actually made it, don't like it, but that's it. You're stuck with it now.
Sure.
Peanut butter
exactly. Right. For better or worse. And then you can lean into like the awkwardness of it. Like you lean into that part of like, I know it's peanut butter on a hamburger. I know it's really weird and kind of gross. It's what we got. Ta-da. Right. So I don't know. It's always an interesting discussion to see towns grappling with what they want the future to look like. And especially whenever they start opening up to the public, because I think that's really beneficial. The interesting thing will be whether they make the public comments public. Right. So they solicited comments from people. With no note about how they're going to report back or how it's going to be used in decision making or whatever. So I don't know if we're going to get like a pie, lots of pie charts or kind of summary from them. Probably we'll see nothing. And then they'll come out in next year and be like, well, here's the new town colors and our banner. congratulations.
Yeah.
Like, sweet. So, anyway.
Yeah, every time does that, they really lean into the whole, like the school colors. You know, there's lots of, it's a thing. Like, I like them. They're not really pleasant, but boom, here we are. We have a slogan. It's great. I don't love it, but boom, it's on the towers. It's here. It's on the sign. Like the history of historic town. Boom.
Yeah.
All right. Alliteration. It's pride and progress. That's not bad. You know, whatever, but it's okay. I do like the alliteration. Good job.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's one of those things of like, you could do worse. At least you have something, right? At least you're leaning into the colors that you have so that people know, like town colors, like,
sure. I mean, it's not really like they kind of a lot of places like kind of into the local school color, you know.
Well, sure.
Because I think on the things it's painted a different color, but it's fine.
Well, I remember growing up in Rogersville, right? Everything, maroon, right? You immediately knew maroon. Sure. Like you knew. It's not an exciting color.
It's one thing. And I know your towns that have like multiple schools and stuff. It's harder.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
I get that.
I know about in Tulsa, you can't do that. But like
St. Louis isn't doing that, right?
Springfield, we like 70s, like what 5 big high schools. You can't do that. But it's not bad in a smaller one. You have one. Go for it.
So it sounds like we're all running for city council. I like that. That's next week's challenge. Run for city council.
I don't think they want me in there. I don't know about that.
I'm putting it on there. Challenge. Run for city council.
Oh,
We recently did local elections. Election, for the primary.
Yeah.
And I did have to do my civic duty and look up what the heck a county commissioner did, because I was like, I actually don't know what their job duties are. Because we haven't been here long enough. They didn't have an election for him last time because he ran unopposed. So he wasn't. So he ran opposed against somebody this time, and I was like, oh yeah, like what do you do?
Do you commission?
Yeah, like what commission? What? So,
well, now you know.
Now I know. I do. Well,
I think we've reached Collin's 8 hours, so I think it's time.
Mostly we just solved all of those problems, so we can go ahead and jump off the call. That's what we had to stick.
Save something for next week. So
we need to save some problems for somebody else.
Fair enough.
Well, you guys have a good rest of your evening, and
you too.
You as well.
We'll talk soon.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Love you guys.
I love you too.
Bye.